questions too, if anybody has any questions, but I'll just give you a little bit of background on what I'm doing. I'm running for an at-large seat on the city council. I'm running as an independent, so it kind of a quick background on what that means I think will be helpful for a lot of folks. The reality is we have 8 wards in the District of Columbia. We have 1 chair, which is Kwame Brown, then we have 4 at-large seats. By law, 2 of those seats have to be non-Democrats, so I'm running for one of those seats. We got in last September, and we've been doing it ever since with meet and greets and door to door and just getting our name out there. So you won't see me on the primary ballot, which is in April. You'll see me in November on the ballot there, which is a long time from now. So I appreciate everyone coming out and hearing what I have to say now, which is just a little bit about who I am and why I'm doing this. I've talked to a lot of you already about this, so if I repeat myself too much, just tell me to shut up already. I was born in the District of Columbia. Grew up on a small farm in Virginia, a little organic farm in Virginia. Moved back in when I was 16 years old to the Petworth community back in 1987, and then have lived here most of the time since then. I went off to join a volunteer group and went to college and then came back for law school. After law school, I went to Georgetown Law, right up the street here. I went and worked for Sharon Ambrose, who was the Ward 6 council member. For 6 years I was there. I did all sorts of jobs. Ended up being her Committee on Economic Development clerk, which was the head of the committee at the end of that time. Did a lot of stuff around Barracks Road development, H Street redevelopment, arena stage work, a lot of Ward 6 stuff. And it's really kind of my home away from home. Sarah and I live in Ward 5, Sarah's my wife here. We live in Ward 5, but Ward 6 is where I've done most of my political stuff. Last spring when Harry Thomas and others were starting to get indicted and investigated and everything, I had to really, wake up in the morning and get frustrated with the fact that our city was not heading in the right direction, that we weren't heading in the right direction for the people, and really we're starting to see our reputation be diminished a bunch, and we don't need that to happen. So I decided I need to get in and do my part to try to bring it back around, and that's why we started to form a group of volunteers to talk about it. We went all over the city talking to folks. Tony was one of the ones that we met with about, should we do this or not? What does it mean to do this? And ultimately decided to go for it. Sharon Ambrose agreed to be the chair of my campaign. Eric Williams here is the treasurer of the campaign, both in Ward 6. So it just shows that it's a big part of who I am, this ward is. So we have a couple of platform issues that we're running on that I'll touch on, and then I really want to open it up for more questions. The ethics reform hasn't gone far enough. We have to buckle down on that and really make some changes. They did a first start of it last year with Muriel Bowser's bill, but she never touched the financing issues at all. So she didn't ask who's donating money, where's the accountability for that, and if you look at the newspaper just in the past week or two, the issues around who pays for campaigns is a huge issue and something that the people really deserve to know through a lot of transparency what's going on with it. They have I think Vincent Orange had over 100 money orders last year. The reason that our money orders are done is because people want to donate cash, but they're not allowed to donate more than $25 in cash to a campaign. So instead, they go and get a money order, which are legal, and convert the cash into money orders. Well, then you wonder what names are on the money orders, and you have to start investigating that and what that means. Our campaign is moving along here, trying to make money, trying to raise money, but at the same time trying to do it with some accountability. So we've issued a transparency challenge across the city to everyone running for office and asked them to be more accountable and more transparent with their donations. So when a company donates to my campaign, we're actually going to be putting on our website, who gave me the money, what the company does in the district, what their business is, and why they would probably want to donate to us. So that down the road, when I'm making decisions and I'm voting and I'm up on the council doing the people's business, you can hold me accountable that it's not just a pay to play kind of atmosphere, that I'm doing it because of the right reason. Right now, it's not required by law, and a lot of the other members that are running for office and a lot of the other people that are members actually don't report any of that information when a business gives them money. They give the name of the business and the address, and that's it. So we've challenged them. We have a couple folks that have joined us in that challenge, and we're starting to get some traction on that. The other huge thing I think that is really important is continuing the reform around our education system. We have a whole lot of positives in this city that need to be picked up and shown off to folks. but at the same time, we have a whole lot of gaps that still need to be filled. And that means that we have to, I think, create more of a culture of cooperation and a kind of a culture of learning amongst each other between the charter and the traditional schools. There's a lot of charter schools in DC that are very successful. There's the Thurgood Marshall Academy, over in Ward 8, which is a wonderful school. And then there's a lot of traditional schools that are very successful that we need to also lift up the example from there. And then the government, in my opinion, has a role to step in and fill the gaps there. And so taking those examples and taking those, kind of victories and bringing them to the various parts of the city where we don't have a good education system in place. And that's really, Ward 5 is a huge example for that. And I think that just goes back to what happens when you have a distracted council. When you have the example of Harry Thomas Jr., spending all that time figuring out how to make himself rich, buy himself cars and go on golf trips. He wasn't paying attention to what was going on in his own ward. And as a result, you have no middle school. You have, elementary schools that are languishing because there aren't any kids in them anymore because they've all gone out of boundary. You have all these problems. Until you can get council members in there, like Tony said, that are working full time, that are actually paying attention to these things, you're never going to turn this city back onto the right path. We had a moment there for about, I think, 6 years or so when Tony Williams was the mayor and Linda Kropp was the chair of the council, when our city was heading in the right directions and people were taking us with more kind of credibility around the country. And I think Adrian Fenty kept that going for a couple of years. But then it languished and we're stuck and we look like we're going backwards again. And that's really the problem that I have. I don't want to see us go backwards. I want to see our city move forward. And so I'm going to stop there and I hope you guys can support me. Check out my Facebook page, my Twitter feed. We're doing all of the social media issues. And just go to our website. And I'll just make one more pitch and then I'll open it up for any questions, although I've talked to a lot of you a lot already. We're doing a Women for Grosso group around the city that my wife Sarah and about 34 other people started. We have a host committee. Gloria's on the host committee, and Zoe's on the host committee. And we're doing a big event on March 24th, Saturday night, March 24th. Information's on our website to kick off the Women for Grosso group. And Anna Gasteyer has agreed to come and do a fundraiser for me that night around this effort. If you don't know who she is, she's a Saturday Night Live star and also was the star of Wicked, which was on Broadway, and now is in, I think, Suburgatory. She's sometimes on The Good Wife. But she has this little ensemble that she does that she pulls together. But she's a musician and is going to do a show for us over at the Hill Center on Pennsylvania Avenue, the old Naval Hospital. Anyway, she's a Sidwell Friends grad and is coming home to do this. Grew up on the Hill and is just supportive of seeing our city move in the right direction. She's never done this before, but has agreed to come and do it. So check it out and get some tickets and let us know. So